There's a kind of discipline most people will never touch. The kind that makes others feel a little uneasy, a little scared. It's not about willpower, not about motivation, not about being good or strong. It's deeper, more primal, more terrifying. And today, you're going to see exactly what that looks like. Chapter 1: The Awakening. Meet Elias, a philosopher, a thinker, a man who loved ideas more than comfort. But there was a problem. Elias couldn't finish anything. He tried meditation, journaling, studying philosophy daily. Nothing lasted more than a week. Two at most. Every Monday, he felt unstoppable. Every Wednesday, doubt crept in. By Friday, excuses ruled. And Sunday, empty promises. He tried apps. He tried planners. He tried accountability partners. Nothing worked. Why? Because the problem wasn't his schedule, not even his habits. The problem was him, the structure of his mind. Until one night, he read a story about an ancient monastery in the mountains of China. Monks there had meditated every day for centuries, for hundreds of years, without missing a single sunrise. No ops, no yernes, no pep talks, just practice. Elias couldn't sleep after reading it. Something inside him stirred. What if I could be like that? He whispered to himself. And that's when the first realization hit him. Discipline isn't about trying harder. It's about becoming someone who has no other choice. Chapter 2: The Secret of the Irreversible. In those monasteries, monks didn't try to meditate. They declared it, out loud, publicly, to their peers, to the world, to themselves. Your brain treats a promise to yourself differently than a promise to others. The first is optional. The second, dangerous to break. Break it, and the primitive part of your brain screams, threat, survival at risk. That's why the monks never fail. They've made meditation an identity, not a goal. Elias tried it. He wrote it down. I'm a person who meditates 30 minutes every morning at 5 a.m. for 90 days straight. Then he told a friend, posted it online, told his family. Every person around him became a witness. Suddenly, quitting wasn't an option. The thought alone felt like betrayal, not just to himself, but to everyone who knew. The first morning was brutal. 5 a.m. The alarm screamed. His body begged for sleep. His mind whispered, skip it. One day won't matter. But the words of the public declaration burned brighter. He could not skip. Not today. Not ever. Chapter 3: The War Inside. Even with all this social pressure, biology fights back. Your body remembers comfort. It loves patterns. It hates change. Elias's first week was agony. Every step out of bed was a battle. Every moment felt like a negotiation between mind, body, and will. Then came the second principle: non-negotiable hours. Pick a time. Make it sacred. 5 a.m. every day. No exceptions. No debates. No, maybe later. Elias chose 5 a.m. Not for sunrise. Not for quiet. For elimination. No messages. No distractions. No excuses. The time itself became invisible. The decision disappeared. By the second week, something shifted. His body woke up before the alarm. His mind didn't debate. It just moved. The secret? Habits don't ask for permission. They operate in the spaces where decision fatigue once ruled. Chapter 4: The One Way We Love Variety. We think it makes life interesting. But variety kills discipline. It fractures the brain's negotiation points. Each choice, a different exercise, a different routine, gives the mind a crack to escape. Elias solved this. Push-ups, meditation, reading, same order, same duration. Every day, his friends called him robotic. His sister laughed at him. But every repetition built identity, not skill. The third week, his mind screamed for change. You're not a machine, it said. You need freedom. And yet, he didn't falter. Because freedom is a myth if you want unbreakable discipline. By week 6, his morning routine ran itself. His body and mind moved in perfect synchrony. He didn't do push-ups. He was push-ups. Chapter 5. Practice without gaps. The all or nothing lie is everywhere. If I can't meditate perfectly, why even start? If I can't do everything today, I'll wait for tomorrow. Gaps are deadly. One skip day, and the old self sneaks back in. Elias traveled, got sick, life interfered, but he had pre-solved every scenario. Sick? Half the routine, still executed. Travel? Find a quiet corner. Bathroom push-ups. Airplane meditation. Guests? Silent 5-minute routine in the guest room. Every obstacle had an answer. No thinking, no debating, just execution. This is irreversible discipline, not perfection, continuity. Chapter 6. The transformation. By day 90, Elias was unrecognizable. Friends said his consistency was scary. Strangers called it obsessive. He didn't feel stronger. He didn't feel better. He felt inevitable. Discipline had reshaped his identity. It wasn't a habit anymore. It was who he was. And that's the scariest part. The kind of discipline that makes you unstoppable, untouchable, unbreakable. Hook for part 2. This is where it gets dangerous. Because once your mind surrenders to this level of discipline, it starts spilling into other areas of life. Your relationships, your career, your philosophy, your thoughts themselves. And that's when the real tests begin. Unexpected challenges. Life throwing curveballs. Can you maintain this discipline when the world fights back? Chapter 7. The internal battlefield. Discipline isn't tested when things are easy. It's tested when your mind screams for comfort. Elias discovered this fast. One morning, his body ached. His head throbbed. The world outside was warm, soft, inviting. A bed that whispered, stay. The first thought came, skip today. Then another, tomorrow is fine. Then another, you've done enough. This is the battlefield of the mind. Every habit, every routine, every action has an internal opponent. And the opponent is you. Elias realized that the war wasn't outside. It wasn't the alarm, the travel, the cold floor, the boredom. It was inside, his old self. That part that loved comfort, excuses, delay. He called it the whisperer. The whisperer was relentless. It attacked in every quiet moment, every pause, every unguarded second. Rest. Cheap. Change it up. Life is short. Enjoy it. Every habit breaks here, not in public, not in front of coaches or friends, but here, alone, facing your own excuses. Elias started keeping a battle journal, not to track progress, but to track every thought, every urge to quit, every compromise. He wrote, I wanted to skip today. I wanted to lie in bed. I wanted to argue with myself. And then I didn't. Victory wasn't in the push-ups, the meditation, or the reading. Victory was in refusing the whisper every single day. Chapter 8. The enemy outside. Discipline doesn't only fight internally. Life fights externally. Elias faced people who didn't understand. Friends who mocked. Family who questioned. Colleagues who judged. You're obsessive. You need balance. Why so serious? Every word was a test. Every comment a temptation to justify, to relax, to fall back. But the truth is, people around you will always resist your transformation. Subconsciously, they want you less disciplined than them. They need you to stay normal so they feel normal. Elias discovered something terrifying. Discipline makes others uncomfortable. And when people are uncomfortable, they try to pull you back. Friends invite you to skip. Colleagues suggest shortcuts. Family questions your motives. This is where most people break. They cave to social pressure. They choose comfort over identity. Elias didn't. He doubled down. Public declaration, fixed schedule, pre-solved obstacles. Every challenge became fuel for the fire, not a reason to stop. Chapter 9. The unseen test. Life doesn't test you openly. It tests you quietly, sneakily, unpredictably. Elias traveled. Flights delayed. Rain poured. Internet went out. Phones died. Every single obstacle had the potential to undo 90 days of work. But here's the secret. Discipline isn't broken by the storm. It's proven in the storm. Elias began treating obstacles like training exercises for his willpower. Sick? Mini routine. Tired? Still move. Unexpected guests? Silent meditation. Noyim? Push-ups in a bathroom corner. Every obstacle solved in advance. No thought. No negotiation. Pure execution. Chapter 10. The invisible power. By the 70th day, something incredible happened. Elias's routine became automatic. Not a habit. Something deeper. Something identity-bound. His brain no longer asked, should I? It moved. It flowed. It executed. Scientists call this behavioral automatization. Your basal ganglia take over. Decisions vanish. Actions become instinct. But it's not just science. It's philosophy. Because at this point, Elias wasn't practicing discipline anymore. Discipline was practicing him. He became a conduit, a vessel for repetition, consistency, and identity. The world noticed. People whispered. Some were scared. Others inspired. This is the scariest level of discipline. Not because it's hard, but because it transforms you in ways you cannot fully control or explain. Chapter 11. The philosophy of continuity. Most people fail because they misunderstand effort. They think they need to be perfect. That one miss ruins everything. The monks, the philosophers, the greats, they know this is a lie. Discipline is continuity. Momentum, flow, action that never stops, even imperfectly. Elias understood this. He embraced imperfection. He embraced failure. But he never accepted a gap, because a gap is a crack, a space where the old self returns, where identity is negotiable again. Every day he showed up, even imperfectly, he rebuilt his identity. Stronger, sharper, scarier. Chapter 12. The ripple effect. Discipline doesn't stay in one corner of your life. Elias noticed it creeping into everything. He thought more clearly. Decisions became effortless. Conversations sharpened. Projects completed themselves through flow. Discipline isn't just doing something every day. It's becoming a force. A quiet, unstoppable, frightening force. And here's the kicker. Once you reach this level, the world tries to catch up or tries to push back. Both reactions test the strength of your transformation. Chapter 13. The philosophy of fear. Why do people call extreme discipline scary? Because it threatens mediocrity. Because it exposes weakness. Because it shows what humans are capable of when they stop negotiating with themselves. Elias was no longer a man. He was a principle, a walking embodiment of continuity. And that scares people. Because when you live like this, the old excuses, old habits, old humanity, they don't matter anymore. Hook for part 3. This is where the story escalates. Because now, Elias isn't just battling old habits or social pressure. He's facing chaos itself. Life will test his identity in ways no routine can solve. Can he maintain this discipline when the stakes are life-altering? In part 3, we'll see the ultimate transformation, the final level of discipline, the point where identity and action merge so fully that resistance becomes impossible, and life itself bends to your will. Chapter 14. Chaos comes calling. Elias had mastered the internal war. He had conquered the external pressures. But life does not submit quietly. One morning, disaster struck. Not a minor setback, not a gentle nudge. Life blew up. A family emergency, a sudden relocation, Responsibilities multiplied like wildfire. Every routine he had built was tested. Every pre-solved scenario seemed trivial now. And yet, something remarkable happened. Elias didn't flinch. The practice he had ingrained, the identity he had forged, carried him through. Every step, every breath, every action was aligned with his principle. Continuity over comfort. Execution over negotiation. Identity over excuse. Chaos was no longer a threat. It was a mirror reflecting the strength he had built inside. Chapter 15. The discipline loop. The deeper you go, the more the process repeats itself on a higher plane. Elias discovered the discipline loop. 1. Declare a principle. 2. Execute it daily. 3. Face resistance, internal, external, unforeseen. 4. Persist. Fail if necessary, but never gap. 5. Identity grows. Willpower diminishes. Momentum increases. And then it loops. This isn't a cycle of effort. It's a cycle of becoming. You stop doing discipline. Discipline does you. By the 120th day, Elias didn't need alarms. He didn't need journals. He didn't need reminders. His body moved. His mind flowed. His life obeyed a higher logic. And here's the frightening part. Once you reach this stage, people around you will never see the effort. They see results, but not the battle. They see the calm, not the storm. They see inevitability, not struggle. Chapter 16. The unbreakable mind. This is the final frontier. Discipline has a shape. It has a texture. It has a mind of its own. Elias realized something profound. The hardest fight isn't meditation, push-ups, or reading. It's maintaining the unbreakable mind under conditions that will try to destroy it. Life will throw sickness, heartbreak, betrayal, and failure. Society will mock. Friends will doubt. Your own mind will betray you. Yet the unbreakable mind does not negotiate. It does not plead. It does not calculate. It moves. It flows. It is. Elias had reached a level of discipline that bordered on terrifying. Not for him, for everyone who watched him. Chapter 17. The philosophy of identity discipline is often framed as action, but at the highest level, it's identity. You no longer do something because it's a goal. You do it because you're the type of person who does it. This is the scariest level of discipline because it's unassailable. It doesn't depend on motivation, energy, or external validation. It depends only on who you have become. Elias had become someone who could not act otherwise, who could not fail, who could not compromise his principles because compromise was no longer in his vocabulary. Chapter 18. The ripple in a life. Once you reach this stage, every part of your existence is affected. Your decisions are effortless. Your actions are immediate. Your presence is commanding. Your results are inevitable. People notice. They feel it. They respect it. Some fear it. Some envy it. The world begins to bend. Not because you control it, but because your identity commands reality to align. And yet, the scariest part? Most will never understand how it happens. They see the outcome, not the 120 days, the struggle, the whispers of doubt, the resistance, the chaos. You become a mystery, a force, a standard. Chapter 19. The final test. Discipline is not static. It is a living thing. Once it becomes identity, life will test you in ways that cannot be anticipated. Unexpected challenges, crises, temptations. The test isn't about what you do in good conditions. It's about what you do when conditions collapse entirely. Elias faced it. His identity remained. His flow remained. His practice remained. And in that moment, he understood the ultimate truth. Discipline is death and rebirth. Death of the inconsistent, compromised self. Birth of the unbreakable, inevitable self. The cycle of destruction and creation repeats until you reach a level where failure is no longer possible. Not because life can't stop you, but because you no longer stop yourself. Chapter 20. The loop of influence. Once your discipline reaches this terrifying level, it spreads. Quietly, invisibly. Colleagues start adopting your practices. Friends emulate your routines. Family respects your consistency. Strangers notice your inevitability. Discipline is contagious when it touches identity. But the key is simple. Keep your practice intact, no matter the storm. Because the moment you stop, even for a day, the loop breaks. The ripple fades. The force dissipates. Elias understood this. Every day, every minute, every action mattered. Not for the present, but for the person he was becoming. Chapter 21. The scariest discipline is invisible. The world fears visible power. Money, strength, fame. But the scariest discipline is invisible. It cannot be measured. It cannot be challenged openly. It resides inside, quiet, relentless, absolute. Elias became unshakable, not because he was exceptional, but because he had built a system that did not allow for weakness. And that is the philosophy lesson hidden in the story. You do not become disciplined by doing. You become disciplined by becoming. Chapter 22. The loop back. Here's the final thought. Every chapter you just read, every principle you just absorbed, leads to one thing: action. Not tomorrow, not when convenient, not when motivated. Now, you decide today what kind of identity you will carry forward, what invisible force you will build, what scariest level of discipline you will claim. Elias's story is not unique. It's replicable. It's dangerous. It's terrifying. And it begins with a single declaration, a single action, a single moment of refusal to compromise. So, here's the question for you. Are you ready to become someone the world calls obsessive? Someone others cannot predict? Someone who cannot fail? Not because life is easy, but because you are inevitable? The choice is yours. The loop is endless. The transformation is waiting. If you stay with this philosophy, you will see results. But the true power is in consistency of identity, not just habits. Ask yourself in the comments, what is your public declaration? What is your non-negotiable hour? Where will you start your 90-day transformation? And here's the loop. Every time you come back to this video, remember, the path to unbreakable discipline is never over. Every day is a chance to refine, strengthen, and transform further. The moment you stop, the old self returns. But the moment you continue, even imperfectly, you become unstoppable. Now go. Decide. Declare. Begin.